Breaking news, Lauren Boebert settles lawsuit over her past alleged sex work and abortions. A Democratic super PAC alleged that she had been an escort on a quote sugar daddy website. And before I dig into this article, I just want to say what Lauren Boebert does with her body is her own decision. We're not judging her for doing sex work or having abortions. That's not what we do here. The hypocrisy is what we should point out. Lauren Boebert is obviously a person with no morals, and she will rail against people for doing something that she herself has done. I think that's worth pointing out, that if she had an abortion, that is totally her right. But the fact that she then rails against abortions is totally despicable. So the article continues. David Wheeler, president of the Democrat super PAC American Muckraker, announced in a press release that his defamation lawsuit against Lauren Boebert has been settled. And the results of this lawsuit are not good for Lauren Boebert. The judge found that she had defamed them. Quote, the Honorable Catherine A. Starnella, magistrate judge in federal district court in Denver, stated in her written opinion that Boebert defamed me 5 times, American Muckraker wrote. In addition, Judge Starnella agreed with me that our donors should have never been threatened with being sued by Boebert. We were victorious in this case, and I'm thankful to all our donors and supporters and their steadfast backing. Wheeler had accused Boebert of making several malicious false claims about the organization back in 2022 after a controversy erupted following American Muckraker's creation of a website that allegedly made erroneous claims about her. Wheeler admitted to CNN that the website made incorrect statements about Boebert, although he defended the website's main allegations against her. So Boebert accused Wheeler of, quote, sloppy, reckless, and wildly irresponsible actions. She also threatened legal action against the super PAC, however, she never did so. Wheeler claimed that by accusing the site's main allegations of being fraudulent, Boebert had defamed the group and caused it to lose 92% of its donations afterward. So the question here is, were they defaming her or were the allegations true? Because if the allegations are true, it's not quite defamation, right? Boebert tried to have the lawsuit thrown out, but Judge Starnella refused to do so, claiming that her claims were too severe. Starnella's ruling said that Boebert's threats to sue the super PAC sponsors and donors were unprotected by state law because, quote, they were never made in good faith nor in serious contemplation of litigation. Wheeler alleged that Boebert had engaged in sex work, had multiple abortions, and had used illegal drugs. All things she has campaigned against during her time in Congress. So that brings me back to the beginning of the video when I said it doesn't matter if Lauren Boebert did engage in sex work. That is her right. It's her body. We don't judge people for doing that. But the fact that she will then rail against it, she will judge other people for trying to do it, even going as far as to try to criminalize abortion and stuff like sex work, that is the despicable part. Republicans are full of hypocrisy. You know the quote, every single accusation is a confession with Republicans, and that is totally true. We saw that on the debate stage with Donald Trump. He kept saying that Biden was a liar, that Biden was a threat to democracy, that Biden was a criminal, all projection. But the article continues. Wheeler called for Boebert to be stripped of her guns for her drug usage. CNN pointed out that Lauren Boebert hadn't seemed to have an abortion when Wheeler said she had. The news network also found no proof that she had ever worked on an escort as a, quote, sugar daddy website. Boebert called Wheeler's claims, quote, completely baseless and disgusting. Wheeler admitted that his group had made sloppy inaccuracies in its publishing. Boebert proposed a settlement and Wheeler agreed to the terms. Nothing in the settlement agreement prevents him from further reporting on Boebert, said Dan Erst, Wheeler's attorney. So while the super PAC American Muckraker may have taken the allegations too far, it seems like there was a kernel of truth in what they were claiming. Also, Lauren Boebert won her primary last week, and after that, she went on to make some absolutely egregious statements. This reads, we need morals back. Lauren Boebert preaches 10 commandments on Bannon podcast. The Colorado representative, once kicked out of a theater for public sex acts, had a lot to say on America's morality crisis. So Lauren Boebert went on Steve Bannon's podcast and argued in favor of putting the 10 commandments in schools, which is the antithesis of what America stands for. There should always be a separation of church and state, and this goes directly against that, as you guys know. Lauren Boebert acts like she is some beacon of morality when she has committed so many egregious acts publicly in the past, within the past year. I think that was less than a year ago that she was kicked out of that movie theater, and somehow the people in the district that she moved to still voted for her. It's wild.
Melting down if you had to put 10 commandments in the schools out in that part of Colorado, ma'am? Certainly not in rural Colorado, and in Colorado's 4th district. I think that this is something that we need all throughout our nation. And I'm so proud of Governor Jeff Landry. He's a wonderful man, a great friend of mine. And I'm glad that he's in that position and taking action, because we need morals back in our nation, back in our schools. And if there's anything that we are going to present in front of our children, it's going to be, it should be the Word of God, because this is the one truth that is never going to change and never going to leave them. It's not some woke fad of the day that you can get canceled for believing in 10 years from now.
Some woke fad of the day, like thinking that gay people deserve to get married or that trans people deserve health care like the rest of us. Yeah, just a woke fad. Boebert claimed children could benefit from a religious message, one which critics say violates the fundamental constitutional principle of the separation of church and state. The Colorado Congresswoman highlighted the Bible's anti-adultery message weeks after showing up to support Donald Trump as he stood trial for payments he made to hide his affair with Stormy Daniels. Republicans at MAGA rallies, all of these Trump supporters are always saying that adultery is a sin, and I always say, wait till you hear about Donald Trump. You're gonna hate this guy if you hate adultery. Boebert, who purported to be a champion of the Word of God, drew attention in 2023 for committing lewd acts in public during a performance of Beetlejuice, which got her thrown out of the Denver theater. Lauren Boebert was also further mocked for her hypocrisy after she opposed comprehensive sex ed, even though she herself is a teen mom and her son is now going to be a teen father. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. My mom had me at a super young age, but the fact that Lauren Boebert now is railing against sex ed, the same sort of sex ed that could have prevented her teenage pregnancy, is wild to me. Former high school dropout and teen mom Lauren Boebert is proudly proclaiming her ongoing opposition to comprehensive sex education for children in her home state. Last year, she became a 36-year-old grandmother after the underage girlfriend of her 17-year-old son gave birth to his child. And all of Republicans' positions are so contradictory, because in one breath they'll say that we need to stop all these single-family households, and the next breath they'll say that they want to ban abortion. And when you ban comprehensive sex ed, when you ban the sex ed that is a preventative measure for abortion, and then you also ban abortion, you are only going to be creating more single-parent households when people inevitably don't have the sex ed they need, they get pregnant, and they can't terminate the pregnancy if they need to. You guys can see how these are all so contradictory, right? Unlike abstinence-only sex education, which tells adolescents not to have sex, comprehensive sex education offers an ongoing, age-appropriate curriculum that teaches young people about protecting their overall sexual well-being in different social and sexual relationships. Comprehensive sex ed can also acknowledge the existence of LGBTQ+ identities, something that Republicans and other social conservatives generally oppose in schools. And I fail to understand Republicans' opposition to sex ed. I did a MAGA interview recently, if you guys watched it. This lady told me that her son was being taught sex ed in 8th grade and she had to pull him out of that class, which leads me to wonder, if 8th grade isn't old enough, what age is? Because I'm not too far removed from high school. I graduated in 2021. I am now 21 years old, and I remember being taught sex ed in 5th grade, and it was a very mature presentation where they told us just the fundamentals. They didn't dig into anything crazy. They didn't show us any crazy pictures. They just gave us the fundamentals. And then we had further sex ed throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and when you got into high school, you take this health and wellness class and they teach you more about STDs because you're now at an appropriate age. So it just leads me to wonder, if you can't teach kids sex ed in 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade, when are you going to begin to teach them? Either way, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you can know when I go live. I've been doing a lot of live streams and they're so much fun. We dig into Project 2025, we watch my MAGA interactions, so be there and have a great day.